100% Rock. Non-stop. Rockantenne.
All right, so first of all, welcome in Munich.
Thank you.
Good reason for you to be here because you're going to release a new album called Born Free.
Yes, sir.
The album had been produced by Rick Rubin. So how did you get in touch with him?
I've been friends with Rick for probably 10 years. And we've always talked about working together. And he's always kind of said to me that he thought I was positioned to make all the things I've done in my career, that I was positioned to make the next great American rock record. And that's what he really saw, vision for me where I should be going. Really focusing on the songwriting and the singing and everything. So when I played him the first batch of demos I had of songs, we were at my house and I was playing him music. He was like, well, he was really impressed by the songs. And we just decided, he always kind of said, though, I'm not sure if you're ready to make a record the way I want to make a record. And I'm kind of like, how's that? He's like, we're just going to get the best musicians we can. We're going to go into a studio. You're going to play them the song. Once we get the songs, that's the hard part, the songs. Recording, it's easy, but we're going to get the songs. You're going to play it for them once on an acoustic guitar. We're going to hit record and lay them down.
So was a big difference for you working with the producer because the Rock and Roll Jesus album you did by yourself?
Yeah, I've done all my records by myself. I had some help from Rob Cavallo on the Rock and Roll Jesus record, but yeah, all my records I've done myself in my studios in Detroit, outside Detroit, and it's definitely a different experience. I'm used to spending every hour in the studio and, you know, really working the musicians, trying to pull out the performances that I hear from them, and you know, the drum patterns, everything, just so focused on it. And with this, you know, we had such good musicians that it was literally, we would be in the studio 4 hours a day. We recorded the whole album in 2 weeks.
So at least, was it easier for you to
Way
work
easier.
with a producer?
Way easier. I didn't know what to do with all my free time. I was sitting around like, shit, now what do I do the rest of the day? Just get into trouble? You know, like, I was trying to find positive stuff to do to stay out of trouble. It was because I was in California doing it. I've never recorded a record in California. I've mixed some records there, but never recorded there. And I do have a place there, which is right next to Rick Rubin's place up in Malibu. Our houses are very close, so I mean, as we go to the studio at noon, be done at 4. And in 2 weeks, there's the record. Then we did, you know, vocal overdubs, and he brought in some percussion players, harmonicas, and little stuff like that. But for the most part, we really, really focused on the songs, writing the songs. And we got together numerous times just going through the songs, the lyrics, the melodies, the keys that we were going to sing them in, everything.
In the past, you had, let's say, fit in 2 people because you have to be the outside guy, be the producer, and on the other hand, being the artist. So is there, let's say, a battle in between those 2 persons?
You mean when I'm doing my own records? Yeah, sure. It's tough, you know, but I always would surround myself with people who love music, whether it's Uncle Cracker or my guitar player Marlon, who I write, who writes all the stuff with me nowadays. You know, just to get opinions and advice and, you know, kind of bounce stuff off each other. You know, there's always a real cool vibe at the studio when I'm doing my own stuff. Then friends come through at night and we drink and play the songs, and, you know, I hear ways we can make them better. But this process was completely different. It was just, you know, no click tracks, nothing. It was just the way the music that I love was made, as Rick said. He said, we're going to make, you know, the records that you love, that I love, we're going to make a record just like that. That's how we're going to do it, you know, with great players in a room playing music at the same time. What a concept, right?
Do you have, let's say, favorite records, artists?
Sure. Tons. I mean, my musical taste goes, like I'm sure most people's, it's all over the map. All over the map.
Let's talk about the album. It's called Born Free. Is there deeper meaning behind the album title, also the song?
Yeah, Born Free is just, you know, on some of my trips to play for our troops in Afghanistan and Iraq and whatnot, I just started thinking one year about, you know, just by the grace of God, how lucky we all are just to be born in any country that's free, and the opportunities that we have that people that aren't born in free countries. I mean, imagine years ago, you know, before things changed, if you were just born in East Germany or you were born a few miles on the other side, like, you know, how insane is that? You know, just when I started to think of it, I really started to think of looking at life like no matter what comes your way, and, you know, just envisioning somebody living their life and going through different struggles and trials, but no matter what, at least you can say, I was born free.
Um, the song "Purple Sky" is
Yeah.
there a story, deeper meaning behind it?
Yeah, that song was actually started by a singer-songwriter from Oklahoma called Jason Boland, who had a song called Telephone Romeo. And I heard this song and I loved the melodies and kind of where it was going, but it didn't complete the chorus the way I heard it in my head. So I reworked that song and some of the lyrics, and really what it is about to me, it's about being the girl next door that lives right next door to you. And you go through life not realizing that's the one for you. And you go through life and meet these other people and have relationships along the way, this, that, and the other. And after the longest time, you're like, wow, that was right. And, sometimes the things that are closest to us are the hardest things to see. And that's just an example of that.
Listening to this album seems to me is like a red line you have from the musical style. Rock and Roll Jesus was more different in the style. This is, let's say, more country rock orientated.
Yeah.
There are few rap parts in it. God Bless Saturday is a song which is, well, let's say, really rocking on this album.
Yeah, and that song actually started out a lot different when we first started working on that song. It was this more AC/DC Metallica kind of really big, loud guitar, stadium anthem thing. And when we came out in the studio with it, it really took on more of like a Muscle Shoals, Memphis soul kind of rock jam. Maybe I guess more Chuck Berry than Metallica. It's just another, it's just a working class anthem. People that work hard all week and go out on Friday night and just kind of getting warmed up for Saturday night to let it go and have a good time.
You have guest musicians on the album like James Hetfield from Metallica? No?
Everyone asks me that. It's an internet rumor.
Internet rumor, really? Sheryl Crow,
Martina McBride, T.I., Zach Brown, Bob Seger, and another country artist, Trace Atkins.
Bob Seger, he's coming from the same area than you, also from Detroit.
Same city, yeah. Grew up and was spoon-fed Bob Seger from the time I was, able to listen to music, from the time I was born. And always one of my favorites and my parents' favorites. And we shared the same manager for many years and became friends over the years. I've been recorded songs with him on his records, and we've got to perform together a few times, which is one of my biggest, milestones to say my career. Just he's the best to me. And so yeah, when Collide was going on, the song Collide that Sheryl Crow's on, just kind of looked at that song as like the first hit we had together, Picture, which was a big song in the States, country song. Looked at it like a movie, and Collide was kind of the sequel to that movie. And we always kind of heard this piano part like real Bob Seger-esque. And so we were sitting there like, man, we should just call him and ask him if he wants to play piano on it. And I did, and he said yes.
Because nowadays he's just doing albums. He's no more touring.
He did one album in the last 10, 15 years, and he put out a little record just in the Midwest recently called Old Seeger, which is just some of his older stuff that he actually worked in my studio and finished it up with, which was really cool. I could just sit around the studio and, being on his sessions or maybe play tambourine for him or something. And he's been using my rehearsal hall to rehearse because they're talking about going on the road. So I just get to, walk around my rehearsal place all day and act like I'm doing something, but really I'm just listening to, Bob Seger and the Silver Bullet Band jam.
That's a great band. We have to talk about All Summer Long.
Sure.
Which was the biggest hit here in Germany for you. Was a #1 hit. When did you get the idea to combine those two songs, the Leonard Skinner classic and the Warren Zevon song?
Yeah, that was a friend of mine while we were working on Rock and Roll Jesus had brought by Werewolves of London, looped up, kind of like a rap thing, I guess. I was like, oh, that's cool, but I'm not really doing a lot of rap stuff. I'm really more into melody and melody and lyrics these days. And then I started to think about it, and I was picked up a guitar, and I was like, wow, it's the same key and chord progression as Sweet Home Alabama. And at the time, this is when the mashups really started to be big, which I loved because I hated to go into nightclubs and hearing techno music with flashy lights and just this beat going boom, boom, boom. Hated it. But then as I started to go to a couple clubs and hear these mashups of these great classic rock songs over these rap beats or crazy dance beats. I loved it because I could still hear these great songs, but people could dance to them and whatever. So, but then I thought it would be something nobody's ever tried, is to take two songs and mash them up, which had been done, but I had never heard anybody at that point write an original lyric, song, and melody over that, which is what I think I did with All Summer Long. So some people would say, oh, it's just a rip-off of Sweet Home Alabama, but in my mind, I was doing something that had never been done. And doing it as original as I could was still taken from these great songs. And, I got Leonard Skinner's blessing from it. And, Gary Rossington loved him. Billy Powell, God rest his heart, he came and played piano for me on it. Played all those great Skinner licks that he played originally, back in the 70s. So it's really a special song for me.
100% Rock, non-stop. Rock Antenne.